Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet
Wow.
you. Today is
Wow.
the
This is
day where you
exact.
meet us. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. This is not my show, and I'm not the host, but I want to give it over to the man who is. The man who is the man. The man who is. Below me is Joseph, Joseph, that's his middle name, Anderson,
That's
the
not my middle
best.
name.
That's not your middle name?
No.
You lied to me?
Oh, maybe it's one of them.
I lied to everybody just now?
You just. Oh my. But see, this is what I was talking about on Double Cup of Joe show this morning. See, Jesse didn't see it, but because Joe counted us down like normal, like a normal countdown. Right? He does that. He's like 3, 2, because he's the count. You can count on the count.
Yes. He goes 3, two, one, go.
Yeah, true.
And then he
But
laughs.
then I was like, but he went on, and I was like, I asked him, I was like, are we live? And he said, yeah, we're live. Duh. I counted. He's like, yeah, but I'm used to Jesse counting. That could mean whatever.
It could mean anything. 8, 2, 1.
Right. There could be no count whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, hey, here we are.
One time he's just gonna go 3, 2, 1. And then like 4 minutes later, he's just gonna be like, all right, you guys ready to go? Live in 3, 2, 1, you're live. And it's gonna be like, are you serious right now? That whole thing we just did?
Like we
just for like 4 minutes. Okay.
Well, anyway, welcome guys. It's Don't Worry Wednesday. We're gonna have a fun time, and you guys can join us. It's fun
having a good time. Yeah.
At least we think it's fun to hang out with us. I don't know.
It is pretty great.
But yes, this is the show. You guys that have been here, you know the drill. We handle any challenges or issues or anything you might be dealing with in your life. You can just post them in the chat. You can post them on our website. You can post them on Discord. You can send us an email. There's all kinds of ways to get in touch with us. Like you just pick one, and Princess is going to tell you all the different ways that you can get in touch with us. Right there. Yes. And to everyone in the chat, actually, you know, the real people you want to be here with are the people in the chat room, because you guys make this show so awesome. Being there, interacting, talking, encouraging each other, with sending emotes, you know, cool ones. Like, I mean, I tell you, my favorite one right now is this, because I just like it. I
like this one.
You like that one?
Other than that,
it kind of looks like static electricity on your fingers, your fingertips. Like green, but it's green electricity, so it was made with renewable resources.
The other one I like are these two, because they're basically the same thing.
No, they're not.
Yeah, that's a snail. Both of them mean snail. One's a snail and the other one's a hand gesture of a snail.
That means snail?
Yeah, look at it. Look at the picture. Like it's like they're like twins. Except for one is yellow.
Okay. Snails. I guess you're right. They're kind of shaped the same. But
peace. Anyway. Snails.
Yes, everybody put your favorite emoji in the chat right now.
Oh, Jeff likes the French horn.
The French horn.
Oh, Trey likes the virtual hug.
Snail French dragon. Is that a water bottle?
Snails and giraffes are related.
What is that? What is the one Cherry just put with the? Is that a heart with a Wi-Fi?
Yeah, it's virtual hug. It's virtual hug.
Oh, virtual hug. Oh,
I'm pretty sure.
Yep, you know what? Hug. These words come up. Yeah, there you go. Virtual hug, video call. Thanks. Okay, gotcha.
Why is the sheep named Ew?
Because it's a U.
I know it's a U, but it's EWE. It's like Ew. Yeah. It's pronounced U. W-E-Y. U.
W-E-Y?
Yeah, U.
That would be way.
No. Oh, Y-E-W. Sorry. Yeah, Y-E-W, not W-E-Y.
It's like W-E-Y. U. Yeah. It does start with W.
K O P.
Smart. I am smart. Smarty. Okay, we got a show to do. So, welcome everyone. It's Don't Worry Wednesday, the Wednesday edition. We're gonna, if we get too distracted, we're gonna get all kinds of noises in our headphones. Right, Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so at any rate, we are not professional therapists, counselors. Clearly, we are not. Clearly, we may be off our rockers, but we just want to be your friend. We want to help in any way we can. We want to offer some love and encouragement and some good times and good feelings and everything for your journey along through whatever challenge you may be going through. And you guys, I tell you, I can't. I'll tell you that I can't tell you the feelings I have in my heart for all of you. I mean, it's just, I feel so humbled to be able to do this show and to have all you guys here and to be able to talk to you guys. And it's the highlight of my week. And I'm so glad that there's 3 highlights of my week. Don't tell Joe, because I do a show with him every day. But this show is the highlight of my week.
Okay. I won't tell him.
Hopefully he didn't hear that. So anyway, so we have some topics. Don't we?
We do. What do you want to do with it?
Akil, Joe knows martial arts. He's a professional dad now. Hey, they call me a VIP in martial arts, a very involved parent, because I'm there in the classes. And now they're all virtual classes. And you'll be happy to know, all of you who were at Double Cup of Joe show this morning, during my form today, I did not accidentally kick the chair. I succeeded.
Good job.
So, yes, those of you who missed Double Cup of Joe show, you come
You
tomorrow.
can watch it.
We're gonna have another one in the morning.
I'm actually gonna catch up on the last few episodes because I wasn't able to watch them, but
just
I have them. I have them on the YouTube browser. I was at press play.
The next one's gonna be the best one, actually.
Oh.
The best one ever.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What's it
about? And I think we'll say that every day.
Well, that's good. Every time it gets better. That sounds good to me.
The next one will be the best one. Oh yes. The GIF. Senna made me into a GIF.
That was awesome.
That was perfect. So thank you, Senna. That was great. It was right towards the end of the stream. So if you go and watch the stream, it's right towards the end. You'll see where she grabbed that bit of footage. So it was pretty fun.
Nice.
But anyway, all right. So we have a list of topics, and we've got a bunch of people here. So I'm gonna just go through this list of names, and if you hear your name, put your favorite emoji in the chat multiple times, like all in a row, like that. Something like this. Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice. So anyway, all right, here it is. Sumner Kagan, John Doe, Man Left Behind, Eric Bodine, Caffrey, Rain Knight, Akil, Martin, What's Up With Your Mama Net, Mark Anthony, Rosie, What's Up With Your Mama Net again. I just love saying it. And Hyrule. And I know I've seen a few of you here already, so but yeah. Oh, thanks, Little Miss Fancy. I agree. I think Double Cup of Joe is really good. It's fun.
I agree.
You can't hide from Joe. That's right. Akil, I see you. And your topic may be first.
Ooh.
Oh, yes. You get to break fast with family tomorrow. Hey. Those are fun times. Nice. Breaking fast is always fun.
Yep, it is.
John, I thought the elbow bump was 2 ducks rubbing their beaks together. except their beaks are bending.
That's
That,
hilarious.
that
So
totally looks
multiple
like
times when I saw it, I thought it was something way inappropriate. So I'm glad that you said that. I'm not the only one that who can't tell what it is.
Well, but that's not social distancing if you bump elbows.
Yeah, I know.
It's totally not 6 feet apart.
You're not allowed to
Now
touch
this
your
one,
hands to your face or your hands to other people's hands.
that
It's
one's
just
more
hands.
appropriate
Mm-hmm.
for the social distancing thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, all right. So I think the first on the list is going to be Akil, because of all the people I see here. Yours came first, buddy. So yes. So we're gonna do it. And then yeah. And there's the link. You know it's official now. All right. So yes. All right. And this is in reference to, was this in reference to a different one? I think. I have a note here. Oh, it's in reference to Subaru's topic. So you can click the link there and read along. And
Can we go to the next person?
we always go to the next person when it's yours, buddy. But we should do yours because we love you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the last day of your fast.
That's right.
So I think this would be entirely appropriate. So anyway, so I'm gonna read it. I'm sorry. Hopefully it doesn't offend you too much, Akil. But I love your topics, and I'm sure I'll love this one too. So, and already Princess posted it, so we're kind of stuck now. So that's how that goes. But anyway, okay. So this is from Akil. It's called Reminder, and it says, "Sigh. It's helpful, but Ryan pulled out that memory again. I'm thankful for the reminder, but man, it hits different right now. I thought it wasn't prideful, but this feeling in my chest raises suspicion. The thing is unlike Ryan's. The reaffirmation I gave the person wasn't as sincere. It became a twisted relationship, a relationship where the person became dependent." Bold of me to say the word dependent. I did what I could, but I know some part of me is holding back. I didn't treasure them enough, didn't take them seriously enough. I was being hopefully that they wouldn't do it. I wasn't the most honest person, and for that, I've always doubted if I ever love anyone, not even my family, which I really hope I do. But I was raised with good intentions, so I became polite. I became reserved and not too aggressive. I was hopeful that it wouldn't come to it, but you know why most of my stories started. A loss. I lost. A person is lost. A world is lost. All because I got busy. All because I don't want to deal with this right now. All because I didn't have compassion. So now I clutch my hands, holding on to the rare time where she's thankful for me. The rare time she accepted herself and genuinely enjoyed life in my company. It's cold of me to say this, but I lost some time. It's time for me to get working again. I should pick up my things and go pursue my dreams again, but what are my things? What should I be doing again to handle this? This lack of empathy stunted me. I just keep going, that happened. Hope it becomes something good instead, and just walked away. I've become a bystander, and I feel like the place for me within this world isn't fitting. I feel like if I don't see people suffering anymore, then I just cease to be doing anything. I can't change the perspective of mine. I shouldn't accept things as it is, but I just don't feel like it. I feel apathetic. And that is from Akil. And Akil, you have a response in there from Senna. So when you have a chance, you can go and read that. Hopefully you've had a chance to. If you haven't, then you definitely should. So anyway, I understand the feeling of feeling out of place. I definitely have been through times of apathy. I've been through times where it just seems like nothing matters. Like, I mean, we're just kind of cosmic accidents, and this is all just playing out, and I don't have anything to do with it. And so why even bother? I know what that feels like, and I'm sorry that you're in that spot, because I know it's not a fun place to be. But there are ways out of it, and I think Ryan understands one. He's got his hand up there. He's gonna say something really. No, not like that. It was like this. It was the deep thinker.
It was.
That.
It was.
So
You're right.
he's got something important.
Well, I'll get started on it then, I guess.
Oh, and here's an update. The topic is more
yeah.
of me guilty of only helping people when it's convenient. So rather than going out of your way to help people, only doing it when it's convenient. And okay, so yeah, up earlier in your post, you were talking about that, how you didn't take them seriously enough, and like you just where was that spot? Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't want to deal with this right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're too busy. You're too busy to do something. And yeah, so anyway, take it away, Ryan.
Yeah. Feeling guilty, only helping people when it's convenient. I get it. Yeah, it's one of those things where you have to make a sacrifice, right, Akil? I mean, that's what love is, right? And you talked about, like, do I actually even love anybody? Love is not something you just have or you don't have. Love is something that you choose to do. You see some people who have a natural personality, or they're raised a certain way, and it looks like they're loving, but you can't really prove that you love, like we've said before, until you do what you really don't want to do. When it's not convenient, right? And you go out of your way to, help people cope, or, just listen to them, that's helpful, right? And the funny thing is, it doesn't seem helpful. I can tell you, I've spent sleepless nights many times trying to help someone, just like, yeah, I have to work tomorrow morning, but I'll stay awake all night for you if we have to, right? And then, like, the next day, there's the same problems. The next day, it's the same problems. The next week, same problems. Next month, same problems. And it's like, was there any point to me doing any of that? And the truth is, yeah. The truth is, yeah. Because beautifully, when you do that, you change your own heart. You prove what you're capable of. And God respects that, right? God sees what you do. Even if that other person doesn't change, God knows, right? You change. But also, they do change, but we can't see it. Just because someone doesn't fix themselves when we try to help them, or when we're by them, they don't, they just seem to be going through something, regardless of what we do, what we say, whether convenient or not. It actually does stick around in their head. The amount of times that we help them, we get them through another day. All that is important, right? Even if it doesn't seem, even if it seems like they're in the same place the next month, at least we were helping them get through that month, right? That's important. But yeah, you said I was failing my classes back then, so I was kind of focused on it instead of getting overwhelmed. Absolutely. There are times when you have to do that. There are times when you're in a situation or in a relationship where you become someone's crutch. And that's not what you want, right? You don't want to make other people complacent. Sometimes you have to separate yourself from them so they can start growing. Ultimately, what I can say is this, Akil. What you did, maybe it was good, maybe it wasn't. We don't know, right? But because you can't go back and try and do something else to find out, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't know. You don't know what's best. You don't know what's better. All you can do is have, like you said, faith that God will make good of it, or that goodness will come from it, right? Mm-hmm. That's all you can do. If you look at the past and you're ashamed of what you did, I think that's good, because it allows you to compel yourself to try harder next time. It gives you more strength to try harder next time. But at the same time, if you let it, it can also make you feel weak and decide not to try anymore. But that's up to you. You said you feel apathetic. I want to tell you something. A lot of people think that's bad. A lot of cultures, especially the one I live in, train people to think that apathy is bad. That you want to be empathetic, not apathetic. Well, let me tell you something. That's absolutely 100% wrong. You want to be apathetic. Why? Apathy is understanding where someone is without losing emotional control. Empathy is not understanding where someone is, but feeling their pain. So it's understanding their emotion by reciprocating that emotion. But apathy is understanding their emotion without reciprocating it. It's understanding their position without having to endure the pain. Both are good. Both have their points. Both have their value. But don't think that because you're apathetic and not empathetic, that you're in a worse position. The world needs all kinds of sympathy. The fact that you're sympathetic is important. Sympathetic is the all-encompassing, like I care about this person, but I only have apathy and not empathy. So you're still sympathetic. That's the whole point. That's good. The way you approach it is apathy, which is good. Some people need that. Some people need an apathetic approach. Some people need an empathetic approach. Some people are like, I need this person to relate to me on an emotional level so that I can get through this. Some people go, let's cut through the emotion and let's solve this problem. Two very different things. One comes to relate to the person without solving anything and hoping that that helps solve it because you get the emotion over and done with. And the other one is not relating to them, but going, okay, I understand what your struggle is, and let me help you with some wisdom I've gained. And then sometimes that helps people go through without any of the, hey, we share that emotion. So don't, like I said, the world shuns apathy, but it shouldn't. Apathy is very important. It's a very, very important thing. So if you're feeling apathetic instead of empathetic, celebrate it. That's a gift. That's a gift. That's how you are being called to sympathize with people. That's the position you're supposed to be in if that's where you're at, because you can still help people by being apathetic. So even if you look at something and you look at it and you're like, well, I'm not emotionally compelled to help them. It's not really convenient either. I don't really feel their pain. They're just going through that and I don't really care. But I do see they're going through something. So I'll try to help. I'll give my 2 cents, or I'll talk to them about it. I'll listen. I'll be the guy that doesn't really relate to them, but I'll listen if they have to say something. Sometimes that's what people need. Some people just like need someone to listen to them so they can talk all their thoughts out and then realize what they're saying and then be like, I think I figured this out. Or just get it off their chest so they can stop being emotional about it and then figure out, how do I get myself through this logically? Even though you don't relate to them emotionally, they can still do that because you're an open ear, even if you're not relating emotionally like that. So if you're apathetic and you feel like, and you just feel like, I don't really help people unless I like really care, and I just really don't care. That's okay. That's actually better. Why am I saying it's better? Because that's on you, not a response. It's not an emotional response. It's not an emotional compelling to help someone. Instead, it's far, far more loving. Why? Because you don't have that. You aren't compelled to help someone by your emotions. You see, people fall in love and their emotions compel them to do nice things for the one that they love. When someone falls out of love and they don't have that emotion holding them together anymore, but they still choose to do good for that other person. That's beautiful. That is honorable. That's respectable. That takes effort. It takes more effort to do that than to do the same exact thing when you have the emotions compelling you. Because without the emotions, it's entirely like, man, I don't even want to be doing this. I'm still doing it. This is annoying, but I'm doing it because I love them. And I will go through whatever it takes because I love them. And I want what's best for them, even if this is annoying. And I really don't want to be doing it at all. Versus, oh, I would do anything for them. And this is super easy because, like, I just want to do all of this stuff because it's for them. It's completely different. It takes a lot more strength to be on this side. And so what I'm trying to say is, it takes a lot more strength for an apathetic person to approach someone and try to help them. And by that, it's actually a whole lot more loving because it's a whole lot less easy. It's a whole lot more of a sacrifice. So count this as blessing. This is a blessing, even if it doesn't feel like it. Said, I've listened, gave affirmation, but the moment I got busy, she thought I abandoned her. So she abandoned hope. The world lost her. I was being hopeful that she could hold on, but grim news is all I received, probably, or something like that.
I'm guessing there's more to the sentence.
There is definitely more to the sentence. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely, like, absolutely, that is sad. There is no denying that that's sad. That's unfortunate. That is a loss. The world lost her. I like that you stated that way because it's true. She was a gift, and the world now doesn't get to have her in it. You said, okay, but grim news is all I got when I returned. I got chastised for not doing anything on critical moments. They never knew what I did in the background. They never cared of her before. Akil, I mean, that's a great statement, and you're right. They don't know what you did. Oh, is it? Okay, sorry. I'll fix it. Is it crazy staticky or is it just light static? Okay, I'll fix it after I'm done.
You're living up to your name, man. It's good.
Yeah, good. So, no, I mean, you're right. They chastised you because you weren't there in the critical moment. But you know what? You were the one that was holding her on until that critical moment. And when you left, you hoped that she would be all right. She unfortunately took the choice to end her life, right? That's not on you. That's her choice. And that is extremely sad. But for other people to chastise you is wrong. It's just wrong. That's like me cutting my wrist and then blaming Joe down there for not stopping me. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Just don't get any blood on me from up there.
Yeah, well.
Trickle down, I guess.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I'll make sure I hold it to the side over here. So anyways, no. It doesn't make sense, right? One person's actions cannot be blamed on another person. The fact that they chastise you is just wrong on their part. So you have no reason to pay any mind to them. Someone who's accusing someone to be a criminal and they're not a criminal they're just wrong, period. And it doesn't matter what they say. They're just wrong. So just like you said, they don't know what you did in the background. They never cared about her before. And you know how many times I've seen that? It's so true. You're right, Akil. I mean, I've seen people go through crazy hardships and all of a sudden, like, I've seen people die in school when I was growing up. And then all of a sudden people are like getting crazy and blaming each other and going, like, all of a sudden, because of this drama, now they care. Like, they don't care. really it's just gossip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really, it's just gossip.
They just want to be a part of that gossip mill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their emotions are high because they saw someone die and it is sad,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
They had experienced a loss and it's sad and they care about that. But if they do anything more than that, it's not because they care. It's something very different. It's placing blame on people because they're upset. And they're like all conversing and they're getting more and more engaged and more upset as the more and more they gossip. I mean, I've seen it. It's not healthy for them. And it's not healthy for anybody. And honestly, Akil, you know better than anybody, that's not what she would want either. Right? The person who was lost. They would want the best. Right? They don't want you to be in sorrow for the rest of your life over them. And they don't want other people blaming you. Cause I doubt she blamed you, right? And even if she did, if she would have been wrong, but I doubt she did. Because people generally, like if you're friends, they want the best for you. And that doesn't stop just because you're dead. You should carry that on. Even if her hope faded, don't let yours. Anyways, I'm gonna give it over to Joe and see what he's got to say.
Well, Akil, I do have to say, oh, he got a note from her. That's how I know she thought I hated her. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, yeah. So that whole thing, it seems like a bunch of miscommunication. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah, that sounds like miscommunication.
Yeah, there is a bunch of misinterpretation of actions and everything, and people. When we are jacked up emotionally, we don't think clearly. That's true of all of us. Every single one of us. And that's one of the reasons why, I think it's so important when you have a friend helping you through a tough time. That's one of the reasons I enjoy this show so much, and one of the reasons I enjoyed it before even I was a part of it. Because it can help give some clarity to a person who is emotionally caught up in something. And so by definition, because their emotions are high, their logic is low, right? It's the same with, a lot of the stuff going on about the pandemic we're all involved in. Now, there are precautions to take, and there's all kinds of stuff that we should be doing and everything like that. And please, be safe. However, to get caught up in the fear is to lose your sense of logic. And then you start doing crazy stuff. You start thinking crazy things. And then all of a sudden you're like doing things that, I don't know, it's nuts. And you contradict yourself. You do things that don't make any sense. If you follow logic to its conclusion, it's, you see this all the time with people who are emotionally jacked up. And it happens. We all get there. We can all get there. Yeah, we can all be emotionally hijacked from time to time, for sure. But there are a few things. One of the things that I really enjoyed what Ryan was talking about was the power of apathy. Now, apathy does have a negative side to it, and that's what I think a lot of the world focuses on, and that is just, as somebody who just doesn't care about anything. They're apathetic about everything, right? But that's not, I don't think anybody is apathetic about everything.
Right.
But when you don't participate in the emotion, but you're there, you know what you are to that person? You're like a solid rock foundation for them to stand upon, because you're not getting emotional when they're freaking out, but you're there with them. You're not ditching them, and in this case, with this particular person, you got busy, you had stuff to do, and you had to take care of it, right? So, I mean, you had to make a choice. And, I've expressed that to my son before. It's like, he got mad at me for something I did. And I was like, man, you know what? I made a choice. And I don't always make the right choice. I'm not perfect. You know, I'm your dad. I'm the best at messing things up, remember? And so like we're not surprised when I when I make a wrong decision. But I made a decision. And you know what? Here we are now. And we're not dead. We're not, we're not hurt, we're not permanently damaged or anything like that. So here we are. Let's move forward. And really, so that was one thing that I love that Ryan was talking about, because I've been told that by, actually my wife said that to me one time. She was like, why I'm so mean to you these days? This is a while ago. She's like, why I'm so mean to you? I'm like, why? She's like, because you're like my rock. Because I know that you're solid. Because I don't get caught up in all that. I'm a little bit slower to get caught up in emotion, right? Like I'll just listen and I'll be like, oh, and nothing's really that big of a deal. It's like, okay, no big deal. We'll take care of it. We're going to live. We're going to be fine. And, and so you become that for these people when you have that general apathy, because you're not getting caught up. And so that's sometimes something everybody needs from time to time, is a rock solid foundation to stand upon. And not only that, but you can also be the person that's like, hey, you know what? I know you're in the midst of this trauma, this struggle right now. Let me help you out of it. There's a better way of living. There's a better way of thinking. You know what? We don't have to be caught up in the emotion of all this. We can think clearly. And it's tough to tell somebody to think clearly. It's much easier to show them what it is to think clearly. And that's by you not getting caught up in the emotion, right? So I wanted to give Ryan the kudos on describing apathy in that way, because that, it totally shines a new light on that term. It did for me. And I was like, oh, that's a powerful thing, because that's a great spot to be in. Another thing, you were talking about other people that, they're chastising you. They're giving you a bunch of grief about, what you did. They don't even know the whole situation, and yet they're giving you a bunch of nonsense about it. In situations like that, one of the things that I've had to remind myself of is, you know what? I know the truth. I know the truth. If I come out and defend myself and be and fight back against these people, I just add fuel to this fire, and they just come back stronger, and it turns into an argument. Maybe it turns into a fight, and then I have to pull out my Krav Maga, and then they get damaged, and then it's a problem.
And you go to jail.
And I go to jail. But when people are giving you a bunch of grief, sometimes, like, I will just sit there and I'll listen to them, and I won't even dignify their blabbering with a response. People say something, a lot of times they're just trying to bait me into an argument. They're trying to bait me into something into a thing that I don't want to be in, or they're just trying to get a rise out of me or something, right? A lot of times they'll do that, or sometimes they'll genuinely think that whatever their misconception of the situation is, they'll think that that's correct, and they'll be upset with me because of their misconception. I've had that happen before too, where it's like, somebody gets this idea in their head about something I did, and it was totally not at all the situation. And so then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're just blasting me. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, first I'm taken aback. I'm like, what the heck is happening? I had no idea any of this was going on. And they're like, well, you did this. And I'm like, I did not actually. I don't know how I can prove it to you, but I didn't. That's not how it went down. This is how it went down, blah, blah, blah. And you can logically, calmly explain what happened sometimes. And even then, All that does is that makes them more mad because they realize they were wrong. And when someone is convinced they're wrong against their will, they don't change their mind.
Mm.
There's a great saying, a person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. I know that's corny. It rhymes, but it's fun to say. But the point of it is, if you show somebody and prove to them that they're wrong and it strikes an emotional chord, they will go to great lengths to continue lying to themselves just so they don't have to be wrong in their own eyes. It's amazing. I mean, I've seen people go down long roads of self-deceit to try and, save their own opinion. When it'd be so much easier, if all of us could just be like, hey, my opinion could be right and it could be wrong. Let's come to an understanding. But anytime emotions are involved, like Ryan was saying, man, emotions are high, everything like that. I mean, people don't think clearly. People don't think logically. Logic has nothing to do with fear. And fear has nothing to do with logic. When people are afraid of something, or when people are angry and people are all upset, expect it not to be logical. And don't expect logic to get through to them. So in those cases, what Ryan was prescribing with the apathy, that can be exactly what you need to do. Because then you don't even respond, but you're still rock solid. Now inside you might be going like your heart might be pounding and you're like getting but outwardly you're cool as a cucumber. And you let them say their piece and you just don't even dignify it with a response. That's one way to handle that kind of situation. But I understand it's tough. I mean, when you're navigating this stuff inside your own heart and soul, this is where it's great. I think it's so great that you have the faith that you have, Akil. Because through prayer and through faith, I mean, you can believe that all things, like Ryan said, all things work to the good of those who love God. Because God does that. I mean, if you can have that faith, that no matter what the situation is, even horrible, painful situations, they can be turned into something better. We've said it many times on this show. A lot of times, those evil things exist because out of that comes something greater in redemption than there was ever before. It's like, on the Easter Vigil Mass, they talk about the fall of man and they call it the happy fault, which brought about the redemption, because us redeemed is a greater state than we were in before the fall. So I mean, it's an amazing thing, through those trials we get stronger. Through hardships our relationships grow. Through, when I have an argument with my wife or my kids and we patch it up, our relationships are stronger afterward, after we've patched it up, because we've been through that. And then it takes more challenging things in order to knock us off track again. So because we just get stronger and stronger the whole way. And these trials, Akil, are going to build things in you. They're going to build strength in you. And you already have a lot of strength from what you've been through. I can tell. And it's just going to keep growing. So with that, I don't think I have anything else. Ryan, did you have any other parts?
Yeah, that was good. I got one quick thing to say, because I know that it's almost time to be done with this one, but Akil, you said it's tough, especially since she fell for me after I stayed with her. It was too soon, so I rejected her, but I promised to be by her side. I broke that. And I'm guessing, that led from one thing to another, and that's why she wrote the note and thought that you hated her. Let me tell you something. Akil, have you ever been depressed? I know I have. I know that a lot of people here have been depressed. When you're depressed, there's something inside you. It's two habits. One habit is you automatically think negatively about pretty much everything. And the second habit is you think about yourself. You habitually think about yourself. You're not being selfish. You're just habitually thinking about yourself. So what that means is you're habitually thinking about yourself in a negative way. You assume the worst for yourself. So when someone does anything around you, you immediately assume, oh, they hate me. That's why they did that. Oh, those people over there laughing? Yeah, they're laughing probably because I look funny or they don't like me. And it's like, in reality, they don't even know that you're over there. They were laughing about a joke that they told. They were looking maybe in your direction at some point in time, but had nothing to do with anything about you. When we're depressed, we immediately just assume everything's the worst. And we assume everyone hates us. So, Akil, I don't know if you've ever been in that position before, but if you have, you understand what I'm saying. So if you made that promise, right, and you went back on it, I'm not going to put that against you. Why? You had your reasons. You had a lot to do. You were really busy, right? You were trying to do what was best, right? That's where your heart was. Your heart wasn't, I hate you. I want the worst for you. I need to get away from you. Your heart wasn't anywhere like that. Your heart was, I have to let this go for a second because I got all this crazy stuff going on and I have to figure this out so that I can be well off in life and so that I don't fail all my classes, And then you look at that and you're like, wow, it was more important for me to spend time with her and fail my classes. Even if that's true, you can't change that. You were doing what you believed was right at the time. So don't persecute yourself over that. You were doing exactly what you're supposed to. What you believe is right. And I think that what you did wasn't entirely wrong either. You cannot be, like Joe's talking about being someone's rock, right? That's important. But people have to become their own rock. You cannot be responsible for other people's emotions, and you cannot be responsible for other people's actions. If you try to make yourself responsible for other people's thoughts, actions, emotions, logic, religion, if you try to make yourself responsible for other people in that category, you set not only yourself up for failure, but you set them up for failure as well. Does that make sense, Akil? If you try to I'm going to say it again. If you try to make yourself responsible for other people's thoughts, other people's actions, other people's emotions, their faith, their logic, if you make yourself responsible for any of that, you set yourself up for failure and you set them up for failure. You have to give people their space. And I don't think in any way that what you did was wrong, and I don't think you should either. It's just a sad part of your past. And you know what? Sorrow is part of life, and it's a good thing. Sorrow teaches us what's important. When someone dies, right? We look at them and we go, wow, I miss them. You know what that tells us? It tells us that our hearts care about that person. It tells us that we have good hearts. It tells us what's important in life. That we're willing to ache for the loss of this other person. Therefore, other people are worthy of being ached for. Therefore, our time is worthy to be spent on another person. There are people still in the world. You can't save all of them. It's just the way it goes. All you can do is be your best. Do your best to do good. Live out your intentions. Do what you believe is right. And the times you fail, you just look at it and go, well, that was a failure. What can I do to not fail there again? Let's keep on moving. Because no one's life, Akil, is your responsibility. Why? Because you didn't make them. Okay, Akil? Nobody's life is your responsibility. You didn't make them. Okay? So you have to let that be their choice. Their life is their responsibility. No, they didn't make it, but they get to make their choices. Their life is God's responsibility. Okay? So if you ever find yourself being upset at yourself, remember that. Okay? I hope it helps. But I have a feeling she just kind of got the wrong idea because of depression. And depression makes us get the wrong idea about all sorts of different stuff, like Joe was saying. It's not your fault. And you know what? It's not her fault either. It's just something that happened. So when that happens, you have sorrow, but you live on and you make life the best you can. And you make life the best you can for other people because you are responsible for yourself. And you get to make what choices you make. And anything holds you back from making choices, the good ones, then that's on you. It's not on anybody else. It's actually on you. So sometimes you just got to pucker up and start doing good and then rejoicing over it again, That's the way it goes. But anyways, it's kind of dark, kind of deep, but it's true. So anyways, that's it. That's all I have to say. So I'm ready to go on to the next topic.
All right. Well, we have a request to handle a new one that came through today from Danny.
That's right.
First of all, Akil, thank you so much for the topic. My heart's with you, my friend, and I know that what this is building in you is going to create a light within you that is enormous and shines throughout the world. It's going to be great. So I really appreciate you. And I appreciate you being here. So, all right. So let's see. Danny has a topic. And Danny, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time I've seen Danny here. Let's see. And Princess just posted the link so you can all read along. And Danny says this is about a vow of silence. And it says, help. My mom and dad look down on me as if I'm a lesser person because I took a vow of silence back in 2009. So that was a while ago.
Yeah.
They often mentally and occasionally physically abuse me. Any suggestions? And wow, first of all, Danny, my heart goes out to you. This is being abused by anybody is very, very difficult. By your parents, even more so, because I mean, you look at that, like these are people that as children, that's who we look to, right? And so now I don't know how old you were when this happened, but throughout our lives as we're growing up, we start to understand our parents aren't perfect, and then we start to, kind of, that the rose-colored glasses get cracked, I should say. But even still, there's a special connection there, and when there's abuse involved in that relationship and in that connection, it's powerful, and it's very like the pain is extra because of that. And for me personally, I would rather be physically abused than mentally abused, because, or well, verbally especially, like words carry a lot of weight for me.
Right.
So like
Each
when
person,
somebody,
yeah, is different on that, but yeah.
yep, that's true. That's true. It's different. Now it's just my personal, words are like the strong thing for me. I
Mhm.
can get punched in the face and, whatever. But if somebody, if somebody says something strongly and they mean it and it's really, really hurtful, that goes very, very deep. Um, so I don't know. I'm looking forward to hearing what Ryan has to say. This is definitely interesting. I admire anyone who takes a vow of silence or fasting or any type of thing where they're giving up something, because that to me, I just admire when people want to develop strength by giving something up.
Yeah.
So I know Ryan has taught me a lot in that regard. So I'm really looking forward to what he has to say. So Ryan,
Yeah. That I
take it away.
am this is interesting. Hey, Danny, if I may ask, what was your reason for your vow of silence? Was it a sort of like I'm going to be silent in a rebellious reason? Was it a religious reason? Was it a self-challenge, a challenge for yourself? Was it something that you saw other people do, like saints or people you look up to, and you're like, I want to try that. I want to do that. I could see the good in that. Um, and there might be multiple answers to this, but I'm just curious if you could tell us, Danny. What is the reason you took a vow of silence? Now, that was back in '09, like Joe said, that was a while back. That's like 10, almost 11 years, probably, depending. That's a long time, right? Now, obviously, you didn't take
Well,
the vow of silence for that long.
I
Just
don't
saying
know.
that was that long.
Has
Yeah,
the vow of
maybe.
silence been that long?
Yeah, who knows? That'd be nuts.
That's a long
Um,
vow of silence.
um, okay. Yeah.
Oh, you
So,
guys know each other.
yeah, that's interesting. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, so 11 years ago. Well, I said 10 years ago because it could have been at the end of '09. Who knows? Either way, it was about 11 years ago then. Because we're well into 2020 now, I guess. It's 4 months. Time flies by. Anyways, um, back to the topic. Yeah, you know, when your mom and dad look down on you, right? That's really tough because when they look down on you, the response is you look back down on them for looking down on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to tell you that's not inappropriate. That's not an inappropriate response. Um, because the act of looking down on someone should be looked down upon. The important thing there is this, though. It's important to remember to, as they say, hate the action, not the person, right? If we want to talk about hate, right? Hate is to desire the worst for. So love is when you desire the best for someone and you're willing to do what it takes to get them there. That's love. When you really just want the best for somebody and you're willing to do whatever you need. And that could even be tough love. Sometimes you have to like be kind of tough on someone to help them get what's good in life. Hate is the opposite. Hate is cursing someone. Hate is wanting the worst for someone. To look down on someone who's looking down on you is not hate. It's actually an appropriate response because you're looking down on the action of them looking down on you. Rather, you wish they would stop, right? That's all you want, right, Danny? You just want them to stop. Not that you want them to experience pain. You don't want them to have a bad life. You simply want them to look up at you. You want them to be able to respect you. Because once they respect you, it makes it a lot easier to respect them back. I know that from my own personal life experiences. I had a mom who respected me and I respected her back. And I had a dad who did not respect me and I did not respect him back. And that's the way a relationship just naturally goes. When you give someone trust, they naturally want to return that and be trustworthy. When you give someone respect, they naturally want to return that and be respectful. So it's a really interesting situation because when it comes to parents, right? You you would assume that they would want what's best, but the problem is they don't know how to get there. Just like Joe was talking about, as you go through life, you start to notice your parents aren't perfect. There's a possibility, Danny, that your parents intend good, but sometimes their emotions get the best of them. Sometimes your parents might want good for you, but they just don't know what is good. They've lost that understanding. They don't have the wisdom to guide you down that road or be a good influence. They might not have the logic necessary to help you in that field. They might not have the emotional endurance or whatever it is, right? Because our parents aren't perfect. They have their flaws. What's important is to understand that. And what's important is to love them. Now, what I mean by that is this. When you love somebody, it doesn't mean that you will give yourself up entirely for them. It can, but if their thoughts and habits and so on are evil, then you don't give yourself up for them for that, right? That doesn't make sense. It's not logical. It's not good. It's not holy. It's not wise. It's none of that, right? And it's not helping them, right? So what I mean is, imagine you're a parent, okay? Imagine you're a parent, Danny, and your child does something that's just wrong, right? Maybe they steal a toy from another kid. What do you do? When your child, let's say, Danny, let's say you had a child. If your child steals a toy from another kid, how should you react? Well, if you react in one way, like, oh, hey, that makes sense. I understand. You wanted the toy really badly. Yeah, I guess you can keep it. Well, what you end up doing is you train the kid to be a thief. If instead you go, oh yeah, that's not very good. Yeah, you should give that back to the kid. You still might train your kid to be a thief. If instead to your child you go, whoa, that is wrong. We're not supposed to steal from other people. That's evil. Like, that doesn't do good for the other person. It doesn't do good for you because you didn't earn that. So we're giving that back to the kid you stole it from, right? If you make them feel bad about their action, then chances are they won't become a thief because they won't have an emotional connection associated with happiness towards stealing. Does that make sense? So that's if you had a child, right? Now switch that around. You look at your parents and your parents do something that is good. Naturally, you reward them for that. You say, oh, that's, I appreciate that. Thank you for doing that for me. Or, or even saying, I love you, or that sort of thing, right? But if instead your parents do something that is wrong, and you just go and you say, oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, keep on doing that wrong thing. No one would do that. But if you did, right, you kind of train them to be bad parents. It's not your job to train your parents, but it's your job to do what's right. If you sit by and allow your parents to do evil things to you, then you are unfortunately training your parents to believe that it's okay to do that. But it's not. When your parents do evil things, it's not the child's responsibility to own, for the parent's action is not the child's responsibility, but the child has his own responsibility to choose what is good in life, to choose what leads to a happy life, to choose what leads to a good life. And that includes removing themselves from the parent. Because if the parent is a bad influence, the parent is trying to train you to do evil by abusing you and so on, then sticking around and allowing them to do that is not only bad for you, but it's bad for them. If you have a person who abuses an animal, right? That's bad for the person. Why? Not just because it's undignified, but it trains the person to be physically aggressive. And that trains them to get angry easier in life. And that means they have less emotional control over everything in their life, which ultimately leads them down a bad path in life. And it's the same for a child. If you abuse your child, you are leading yourself down a bad road where you have issues outside of just family life. You start to bring that into your workplace. You start to bring that into your friends. And it might not show up at first, but slowly you become worse and worse and worse and worse in every area of your life. And that's the road your parents are headed on. So when I said earlier, you have to love them, what I mean to say is you have to try to stop that, because it's not right for you to be abused. You have to try to stop that. And I don't mean you stand up and physically fight them, because that's just not going to work. There's going to be you leaving, you letting somebody else know in your area. Like if you have a teacher, tell your teachers. If you have, you can call Child Protective Services. You can talk about it with your parents. And that would be the first step I would do, is sit my parents down and be like, or rather go to them whenever they are sitting down and open up a casual conversation like, hey, how's it going? Talk about whatever's outside. Oh, that bird just hit the window. That was weird. Did you hear that? Yeah. And then you just start having a weird conversation, right? But then you take a normal conversation, and then during the normal conversation, you kind of just cut in and you be like, hey, I was just thinking about something. So you are physically hitting me, and that's not a good way to get your anger out. And I don't think that's good for you, and that's not good for me. So could we stop? Because that'd be really great. And you might go like, oh, geez, I can't believe I'm saying this. This is kind of scary. Mm-hmm. If they lash out onto you, right? If you're scared, they're going to beat you for saying that, right? Well, you either it doesn't happen and it completely stops. 2, it doesn't happen and they continue to do it. Or 3, it happens. And then you're like, same thing that happens with option 2 and 3, the same. You just go, okay, well, I'm out of here then. I'm calling Child Protective Services. I am literally leaving, because this is not good for me and it is not good for you. It's really the only thing you can do in that scenario that is good. That's the best way to fix that scenario. Tell other people that are adults that are responsible and things like that, and hope for the best. My mom took in a person who had a bad childhood. Other parents are good like that too. I had a child live with me for a period of time when I was growing up, because they lived in a bad home. Mm-hmm. There are other people out there that are willing to do that. Mm-hmm. You probably have friends who have moms and dads who would be more than happy to take you in so that you don't have to go through that. But anyways, that being said, I'm going to stop here. I've talked for too long. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Joe.
It's never too long, Ryan.
It's not too long.
Don't believe what anybody tells you.
Okay.
Don't even believe yourself.
All right. I won't. Ryan, you're dumb. Don't believe yourself.
Don't believe that.
You're just making things up.
Danny, like I said, that's a tough situation. If stuff's going on like that, where you have an abusive situation, you took a vow of silence. Now we've gotten a little bit of context in the chat between you and it appears to be your brother, Billy Big Bullocks. And So if you guys are living in the same house and you have the same parents and there's some abuse going on there, definitely go back and listen to what Ryan said. He can help you navigate that situation practically in a very good way, so you can go back and listen to that. I will just tell you this, that Billy said something about how you took the vow of silence just kind of for a laugh. Even if that's the case, it takes a lot of discipline to take a vow of silence.
That's true.
If it's a true vow of silence where you're like not saying anything for a given period of time, that takes a great deal of discipline. And you can apply that discipline to anything. Okay. Now, Billy, we've heard some about your physical ailments and sickness and stuff like that. That is definitely a cross to bear as well. And so between the two of you, you've definitely got, some challenges that are tough to deal with. And if you guys are still, if you're still kids, then you're getting a lot of your wax while you're kids, because really our lives are going to have suffering involved.
Mm-hmm.
Princess said in one of her responses, she said, we can't really compare one person's suffering to another person's suffering. And that's totally true, because the way something affects a person might be different than the way another thing affects them, right? Because some of our challenges, since we're not built the same way, certain challenges are going to affect us differently than others, right? Like I was talking to you, some people, like for me, words are the powerful thing, right? Words of affirmation, great. Like that sends me like sky high emotionally. But words of hatred and bitterness and anger and stuff like that, those are really, really powerfully in a detriment. Like they're hard for me to deal with. Where like my wife, for instance, she's a physical contact person, so like touch and hugs and stuff like that, those are the things that really, really affect her in a positive way. And any type of physical violence is the stuff that's like majorly a problem for her. Where like me, you could hit me all day long and I don't care. Like maybe that's why I can spar. Actually, that makes me not a very good sparring person. It's good for the person sparring me, but because I don't care and you can hit me, like I end up losing a lot of points that way.
Fair enough.
Because it's like, I'll just put my head up there, kick it, I dare you.
Kick it, dare you, kick it, ow. Don't do
oh,
that.
good one, good.
Yeah, good job. That was a nice kick. I'll teach you.
And they get 2 points. And I was like, dang it.
Ask for that too. What? That was weird.
All right, next time I'll have to block it next time. But with all that being said, right? Okay, so there are challenges going on. You guys both have challenges. If our childhoods are difficult, the thing I've noticed for a lot of people, now it's going to depend kind of on how you handle it. And hopefully some of our words sink in. Because if you are a young kid and you're going through a lot of challenges, as an adult, I've seen more maturity come from people who had a rough childhood than people who had it easy. People who had a hard time, they had abusive parents, maybe they were foster kids, maybe they were an orphan, maybe, whatever, who knows? But some kids that grow up in really hard situations end up being very, very strong and mature adults, because they've gone through these challenges as kids, and it just makes them stronger. That's the thing that's great about challenges. They make us stronger. Now, they're hard to go through and they're terrible. And if there's abuse going on, it needs to be addressed. Like Ryan was saying, absolutely. There needs to be something to check it. And if it can't be done by you personally and it can't be done by a neighbor, then maybe an authority has to step in. Who knows? Like maybe it has to go that far. But so if there's abuse, it needs to be stopped. But challenges that even in the midst of that abuse, it can be turned into something great later on. And the kids who had it easy, man, there is something to be said for the term spoiled brat. Because you see it. You see people who have, as kids, they're growing up, they have everything just handed to them. They have everything given to them, no big deal, whatever, and their parent, everything's just perfect and hunky-dory. They never have to worry about anything. Money is just like air to them, whatever, right? These people, man, one little whiff of a challenge sends them flying through the roof. They don't know how to handle it. They're just like, oh no, or then they get mad. And I've seen people like be defiant with judges because they're like, you know who my dad is, blah blah blah. What? It's like, dude, do you know who that judge is? He's the guy who can send you to jail. like like come on. So at any rate, even though I know it's hard, and I hope you can figure out how to get the abuse to stop, you can rest knowing that having challenges in your younger life can make you a much more mature and stronger adult, somebody who can face challenges head on, somebody who can be wildly successful, because the path to success in anything is very, very challenging. And if you've handled really, really tough challenges as a kid, it's just going to be like second nature to you to handle challenges, and you'll just be able to persevere through it all. Boom, boom, boom. And you'll be like, what's next? What's the next one? You'll be able to find out how to take those challenges, make them stepping stones, and then just move right on your way right up to being successful.
That's so true.
Or the other way you can go is bitterness. And really, what you find out in the end is that it really is true. Everything that happens to us presents us with a choice, and we choose which direction to go. So you have a hard time. Yes, it's a struggle. It's painful. Yes. What are you choosing to do? Are you going to choose to grow from it? Or are you going to choose to just wallow in anger and self-pity? Because if you choose the wallowing in anger and self-pity and bitterness, that does not lead to success. That leads to problems and chaos and unforgiveness and just major personal problems and eventually prison. Like you can talk, like there's a story talked about, I can't remember. There's actually a person, I believe it's Ben Carson. He's like a doctor who actually ran for president. And I believe, I might not have the right person, but somebody achieved wild amounts of success. Like they, and their childhood was terrible. They didn't have a dad, it was always tough, growing up for them. And they had a brother, right? And their brother ended up in prison. And people interviewed, like both of them got interviewed, right? Both these kids, one of them wildly successful, one of them in prison. And you know what the final, they went through all these questions, they went through all this background stuff. Okay, how did you get here? How'd you get there? What happened? This and that. And in the final analysis, both of them said the same thing. They both said, with a childhood like mine, where would you expect me to end up? So it's a choice. You have a rough childhood, you can turn that into wild success. Or you can go the other way. It's truly up to you. Mm-hmm. So I would encourage you to choose wisely. I would encourage you to find great books that are written by successful people. I would encourage you to study successful people
Mhm.
and learn what they did and follow them. And you understand that everybody has a hard time. Everybody has hard times in some things. And you totally can make it. You totally can make it. You're still here. Like I like to tell myself every morning, I wake up, I look, you know what? I got another chance. Maybe yesterday I fell flat on my face. Maybe yesterday I planned out this whole great day and it was going to be awesome and I didn't do any of it. But I got another chance today. Let's sit down, let's make a plan, boom, we're going to attack it. And the first thing we're going to do to attack it is we're going to do a live stream with Joe, because that's the way we do it. Like I said this morning, we want to help you start your day right. Actually, that's not true. We want to help us start our day right, and you get to hang out with us while we do that. So that's what that show's all about. Mm-hmm. But at any rate, I hope that makes sense to you. And Ryan, did you have any other thoughts on this?
I mean, totally. I have lots of thoughts, but Billy and Danny, you guys are brothers apparently. If you guys are still here, that's awesome, and we appreciate you. Joe is so right about it's what you decide to make your life. You can be bitter, just like Joe said. You can be bitter, and it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're not.
You would be justified.
You would be justified, but it doesn't make it right. Why? An opinion, people say, is not inherently wrong or right. But if an opinion leads you down a road that is inherently going to be failure, it's just a bad opinion, period. It just is. If I say, I don't like this person, right? Like if I had a wife and I was like, I don't like my wife, her, right? How is that going to make my relationship with her good? It's not. It's a bad opinion.
I guarantee if you have a wife, you say that once in a while.
Yeah, well, but it's still a bad opinion.
It is. You're right. You got to check yourself.
You have to check yourself, because that's what road you go down. How you respond to these things is how it decides. My mom, Billy, you were talking about being locked in like attic. My mom had a mom who died. Her dad then, like, she was 9 years old. Her mom died. Her dad remarried that year, a really young gal. When they had kids together, which was like a year or two later, she, alongside her brother, got locked in the basement. They were not allowed to go. They weren't allowed to associate with the other kids in the household. They weren't allowed to talk to them. The only time they were allowed upstairs was to eat. But when they ate, they weren't allowed to say anything, and then they had to go back downstairs. And that was a life my mom lived for many, many years. She decided not to hate her dad. She decided not to hate her mom. When I had a dad, my dad was an angry alcoholic. He used to come home late at night after drinking at the bars, wake my mom up, tell her to make food for him. Get out of bed. Make me food. Cook me something. She'd cook for an hour or whatever it was. She'd go back to bed. If they didn't get in an argument, he wasn't good. He was an angry alcoholic at the time. I chose to love my dad. Okay. I respect my dad now. He's a lot better of a person than he used to be. But that comes with time. That comes not just an instant, right? But still, my dad, like I said before, when I was 2 years old, he picked me up and threw me across the room, because I was making noises because I was crying. He told me to shut up, and him telling me to shut up made me cry more, and so he picked me up and threw me across the room, right? That's not good, right? So my mom, because she had decided to take what her situation was at her home life when she was growing up as a kid and make good of it, she figured out, okay, I'm going to divorce this man because I cannot allow him to treat my kids this way. If I've already experienced this before in my life, and I can't allow that to happen to my children. So she took this pain, right? And she turned it into something good. She took that pain and she saved somebody else's life, essentially. Does that make sense? You have that
Yeah.
same ability.
Yeah.
You both have that ability. If you have bad parents, when you become parents someday, you'll know, oh, I know what a bad parent is, and I don't have to be one. I can be the best parent in the world. My mom is the best parent in the world. Now, Joe might say his mom's the best parent in the world. That's fine. But kids, like all the kids that knew me in my school, were like, dude, your mom's awesome. And I'm like, I know. My mom is awesome. My mom's like the best mom ever. She's so cool. When I was working after school, like no longer in school anymore, graduated at my workplace, she would drive by with ice cream and stuff for me and the rest of the crew working. And everyone was like, dude, your mom is amazing. She didn't have a whole lot of money to do that with. She was just choosing to do that because she's amazing. And that's like what you guys can do. When you guys grow up and you have children someday, they can be like, your children will be like, oh my gosh, my dad is the best dad ever. He's so cool. And all the other kids will agree. They're like, your dad is better than my dad. You're like, and your kids will be like, I know, because he's my dad and he's pretty awesome. So turn this, like Joe said, you get to pick whatever you turn this into, but you can make yourself bitter and hate it. You'd be justified. You wouldn't be wrong, but I don't think you'd be right, because you can also turn this into something amazing. You can turn this into something that is absolutely beautiful. And I think that's what you should do. You should go with your life and pick what kind of attitude you're going to have about this whole thing. Make life awesome. And don't worry about the failures of others and whether they're good people or not. Just be a good person yourself and experience that. Anyways, of course, we've kind of gone on, but I never fixed my audio, so I'll do that now. Carry on, Joe.
Carry on.
Carry on.
Yes. Carry on. So thank you very much, Danny, for the topic. We appreciate you here. I don't know if you're still here or not, or you, Billy. But hopefully some of that we said made sense. Hopefully that you can take from that little tidbits here and there. If you missed any of it, go back and re-listen. That's the beauty of YouTube. You can always just go back, rewatch it again. And yeah, it's going to be good. So thanks and welcome to the show. First time I saw either of you here. So it's great to see you. So hopefully you're doing good. Anyway, now we can move on to the next topic. Let's see.
Let's do it.
So Hyrule, I know you're still here. I just saw you post there. So, and Cherry, did Cherry ever come back or did Cherry go? Cherry left, but
I think Cherry left to do Japanese because today's his day to do Japanese.
Oh yeah, they're
not here.
Yeah, Japanese. I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so.
My mom said Japanese on accident one time. It was hilarious.
Nice. All right. Well, then it's Hyrule. Hyrule, you are next. And I see you here. So, and Princess posted it. So there it is. Ka-dang. Ka-dang. All right. And this is what? Oh, okay. Sorry, that looked weird. My bad. Anyway, okay, this is called The Right Time by Hyrule. And Hyrule, it's great to see you again. Welcome back. Yeah. And hopefully we have something good to say. So you can read along with me. Click the link Princess posted, and it goes like this. Hello, it's me again. I'm going to make this short and sweet. I've been liking this girl for a while now, and we talk regularly, and I think we are good friends. So my question is, how do you know when to tell someone that you love them? Because every day I think about her, and it hurts me that she does not know my feelings about her. But what do I know is, but what I do know is that what I want to, wait a minute. What I do know is that I want to be very close to her and I want to support her and comfort her. Thank you for your time. Hyrule. P.S. Two friends are telling me to wait while the other is saying go for it. Hey, it's a great question. And without being you and without being her, it's tough for me to know exactly what to advise you to do. But Ryan has these capabilities of knowing exactly what to say, when to say it. Like he just, it's like, see, gold right there. It's like he opens his mouth and gold comes out.
Asparagus. Melancholy asparagus.
Exactly.
Frappuccino.
See, I would say something like Brussels sprouts, and I'd mess it up.
Dude, I love Brussels sprouts.
Me too, especially when they're fried in butter with bacon.
Yeah. You got to fry them in butter, man.
Topped with ice cream.
Why not?
But anyway, so Hyrule, I understand. It's tough to know, and sometimes it can be a little bit touchy because you're like, if I say this, is it gonna like make things really awkward and weird? Or if I don't say it, are we gonna be able to move forward? I understand. There's all these different kinds of weird feelings, and so I will turn it to Ryan and see what he has to say.
Remember to butter your Brussels sprouts, guys, and we'll see you next Friday. That's all I got. No, just kidding, Hyrule. Thanks for posting the question. Hyrule, man, you're awesome. Don't worry about it. You good? Whether you get in a relationship or not, you good, man. That's the way it goes. It's interesting. I've had posts before. Like this was a long time ago. I haven't gotten these posts in a long time, but back when I was doing Don't Worry Wednesdays with the Beta Cat, we had gotten a couple of posts like in a row that were asked like week after week. Similar questions about going out with girls or girls going out with guys or whatever. So, and they were like, I'm looking for romance, One thing I have to warn about is this. Don't go chasing love if you just want to experience it. Because love is something, like we talked before, to love someone is to desire the best for them. If you want them to be with you, that's something different. To desire someone is different than to desire the best for someone. Does that make sense? When you look at someone and you go, I just want them in my life. I cannot stop thinking about them. That's you. Mm-hmm. That's actually just you. That's you experiencing yourself. Is that weird? It is weird. When someone says to me, for example, that they are really in love with me, right? I'm like, but that's you, not me, right? And it's the same thing for you, Hyrule. Maybe this person does like you the same way back. But the important thing is to understand your emotions are your own. And to desire to fuel those emotions and keep on increasing them and go, oh, I just want to be with her because I'm crazy happy and excited and it makes me feel good. Well, that's all about you. It's not really about them. Okay? So that's just a warning. That's just a warning. Outside of that warning, now let's talk about the question. Is it too soon? There's no such thing. No such thing as too soon when it comes to asking someone out. Why? Because they'll either like you or they won't. And here's the thing. If you go up to someone and say, hey, I want to go out with you, and they say no, that doesn't mean they can't say yes later. You actually posing that, hey, I want to go out with you, will go, wow, this person has guts. That's what their thought is going to be. Wow, this person has a lot of guts. I don't like them the same way, so I'm going to have to turn them down. That might make things awkward, right? That doesn't mean the friendship has to end. You just go, oh, okay, that makes sense. If you're not into me, that's cool. And then you go on being friends. You see, if you make things awkward, things will get awkward. If you just embrace the awkward and allow it to like manifest itself for a little while and then continue being friends, that's really the best thing you can do. Mm-hmm. Because here's the thing. If you go up and you say, hey, I really like you a lot and I would like to get to know you better, can we go out? If they say yes, sweet. If they say no, sweet. Because now you have your question answered, right? Then it's not going to make any difference if they said no and it was going to be later that they liked you. Like, it's not like a timing thing. Like, oh, I have to wait 47 days before they're going to like me. And if I say, will you go out with me between now and those 47 days, it will make that 47 days disappear and they'll never like me. That doesn't make sense. All right. If in 47 days, they're going to figure out they like you, they're going to figure out they like you in 47 days, whether you ask them now or not. Okay. If you can get that through your mind, you understand asking out is all about courage. Mm-hmm. It's just courage. I dated a girl online for 4.5 years. All right. She was awesome. I learned so much from her and my relationship with her. When I met her, it was in a video game and we saw each other's character sprites and we're like, you look cool. I look cool. Yeah, sweet. Let's hang out. And we just started going dungeon crawling together, killing monsters, chatting while killing monsters. Now, this was all in text because we didn't have the technology to talk to each other. Like, that was not a thing yet. Mm-hmm. And when they developed that technology, we didn't have it for several years because it's expensive. So we just typed. We never heard each other's voices. And over the course of like, I don't know, like a couple of months, like 3 months, we were playing this game together. And it was around Christmas time. And I was like, I wrote her an email, which is, I asked her out over an email. That sounds so funny now. That sounds so funny. It sounds hilarious saying that out loud. I just realized that.
Oh man.
I literally asked this girl out over an email and her response was, oh my gosh, I feel the exact same way. And so we started going out. And we had never even heard each other's voices yet. Like, I knew her first name at least. That's good. But then we started sharing each other's lives. Like, hey, this is my personal life. Going out with them was kind of just like, hey, we want to take the next step in our relationship. Let's try to get to know each other better. And let's kind of go steady. Let's say, I won't go out with any other girls. You won't go without any other guys. And we'll, that will be our thing. And it worked. It was awesome because now I learned so much that when you get into a relationship with someone, your intention should be the end in mind. Your intention should have the end in mind. And by that, I mean death. But before that, marriage. So you should start anything with the end in mind. No, okay. You should, when you're going to go into a relationship, obviously there's no point if you're not interested in marrying them. Right? So if you look at this person, you're like, yeah, I could marry them. That sounds good. Or I don't know, but it seems like maybe I could. I'll have to get to know them better. You don't have to ask them out right away. You can wait. But if you figure out like, hey, I would totally marry this person, then ask them out. See what happens. If they deny you, that doesn't mean it's game over. They could later come back, but don't count on it. Live your life. Don't worry about them.
Yes.
Because here's the thing. You can get all kinds of distracted. See, there's this thing called an emotional high. It's the in love feeling.
Mhm.
You're really in love with somebody, you have this crazy emotional high, like everything's intense inside, right? Like, man, I just want to be with her all the time. I'm constantly thinking about her. I was like, man, what if that, what if this, what if that? It's an emotional high. The problem is emotions are fleeting. That emotional high can last for 2 years. Sometimes it only lasts for 2 months. Sometimes it lasts for 2 weeks. Sometimes it lasts for 2 days. All right. In every relationship, in every marriage, that emotional high eventually fades and then you're stuck with the person. Actually, most divorces, we have a really high divorce rate in America. It's crazy high. It's higher than marriage rate. So no, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so
well, you know
yeah,
the number one cause of divorce.
yeah. Number one
Marriage.
cause of divorce is marriage. No, number one cause of divorce is falling out of love, not being compelled by emotion anymore, and going, how did I end up with this person? I don't want to be with them. So now I guess I just don't love them anymore because I don't feel that way I used to feel about them anymore. So I guess if I don't feel that way, I guess I don't love them. So why are we doing this? Let's just get divorced. That's because they don't understand love. It's not because their emotions are wrong. Those emotions are a roller coaster. They go up and down. Sometimes you have them, sometimes you don't. They are fleeting. They come and they go, and then they come again. And then they go, and then they come again. So you could totally get caught up in the situation where you're like super crazy high emotions, right? And that can lead you down a trail. But once that emotion ends, you figure out, do I really want to be with this person? You know? And I think that's an important thing because if that didn't happen, people would waste their entire lives. Because when you have that emotional high, your ability, like we were talking earlier, your ability to have logic disappears. Your ability to focus on other tasks in life disappears. Your ability to go out and make a business, make money, make friends, kind of just goes to put because all of your brain power is invested in one thing. And so it's a good thing that that emotion fades, right? It's a good thing. It's a good thing because we have to move on with our lives. And so my point is, if she declines you, good. You were going to move on with your life anyways. Mm-hmm. Whether it was with her or without her, you were going to move on with your life. So just keep on moving. Don't get caught up in like, if she declines you, don't get caught up in like, okay, now I just have to wait it out. I have to keep on going after and proving to her that I am love worthy and let's keep on going after her. Don't do that. Don't waste your time. Because you want to know what's most attractive to a person? You being attracted to yourself. Isn't that weird?
That's weird.
If you are attracted to yourself, other people will be attracted to you. Why? Because you will hold yourself as if you are attractive. And people will go, oh, wow, he's holding himself as if he's attractive. That's attractive. Wow, he's got confidence. I like that. Let's do it. Let's go after that person. Just like Joe.
That's because
everyone wants to date Joe because he's with that. No, it's true. It's 1,000,000% agreeing with Ryan so hard. Thanks, Senna. Thank you. I appreciate you. No, it's true. People who like themselves, people who have their minds set on doing something good in the world, have people who are focused on achieving things are naturally attractive to other people. You want to know why? It's animal instinct. It's almost like a wolf pack. If you look at a wolf, the wolf who is the strongest, the alpha, is the most attractive to all the other females. They all want that wolf. Why? Because he's the strongest. He's the coolest guy in town. If you just do you, if you make your life about achieving great things and realize that you're an amazing person, that will help other people realize that you're an amazing person and it'll make you look attractive. So if you get caught up in chasing after love and thinking that's what's going to make you happy, that's what's going to make you successful, or that's what's going to make you feel good, that's what's going to make you look attractive, that's what's going to make you like yourself, all of that is a lie. That's Hollywood jumble gumble dumble dumb stuff.
Yeah, that's what people want.
That's what people want to happen.
They want it to be that way, but that's not the world.
It's just not how it happens.
Sorry.
Sorry,
yeah. Hollywood. You're wrong again.
Yeah, you're wrong. The only reason why some people look more attractive once they're in a relationship is because then they become more confident in themselves. And then they look more attractive because they hold themselves differently. They approach people as if they're confident. Because if you're confident, you have no worries about going up to somebody and saying, hey, you want to be friends? Like, yeah, I want to be friends with you. That's immediately attractive. If I go up to you and I'm like, sorry, bye, that's not going to be attractive. You're going to be like, I don't even know that guy. He walked up and he said bye. Like, he was too scared to say, like, hello, let's be friends. So I don't know him. Therefore, I can't have any way to be attracted to him. So anyways, another 11-minute one. I keep on stopping at that number, it appears. So I'm going to move on to Joe and let Joe tell you about a thing or two about the romance, because he's more learned in the subject than I am.
A little more learned.
He has more experience.
More experience? Why? Because I'm married?
No, because you're bald.
Oh, yes, that's right. Because I'm bald. It's the baldness.
There's nothing that says confidence like a bald guy.
Okay. You know, when you have the guts to shave all your hair off.
Yeah.
And approach
right. And I don't, obviously.
What happens is, you know, people are scared of you, actually.
That's actually true.
It's pretty good. So if you want to deter people, shave your head. Or, you know, who knows? You definitely, it doesn't matter. Okay, romance. Go back and listen to what Ryan said again. Those were golden moments of what Ryan was saying. It's like I told you. You guys need to see what I'm saying. Ryan opens his mouth and gold falls out. Right?
You are so right. Watch. Gold.
That's actually
it's yellow. Okay, you know what color is this? Orange. Okay, I've got nothing.
Oh my gosh. So okay, well here.
Gold, silver, whatever.
That's a quarter.
Could you please go on?
I could. If
Could
you
please stop putting the focus on me and my terrible antics?
You know,
I am so distracted right now. I could take a train to Ireland and be like, yeah, I derailed so hard. I ended up in a totally different book. Yeah. So could you just shut up and let yourself talk for a little bit?
Sure. I'd love to.
Good.
Anyways, so romance is one of those things, you know? It's just one of those things, you know? It's crazy. But like Ryan was talking about, and like I've noticed a bunch of stuff in the chat here. I've experienced this firsthand actually twice. The two times that I've been in serious relationships, right previously before I was in those serious relationships, I was planning on not being in any relationship ever for my entire life.
Right.
That was my plan. Never. I was like, nope, not gonna do it, you know. And then all of a sudden, this girl, you know, and everything happens, and you get like, you know, you get to talk to him, and you get to be friends, and you start getting closer, and then it's amazing, and then all these things happen, and your heart goes all pitter-pattery and stuff, and you know, you fall in love, right? Like Ryan was talking about that feeling. Now, here's the thing. I don't want to discredit that feeling. I just want to say, like Ryan was saying, you know, don't get too hung up on it. But that feeling is there for a purpose.
Yeah.
It is. It draws people together. I mean, it's there. I mean, those things are meant, right? You like there would be no more people if that didn't happen. Right? Because it takes people to make more people. And people kind of go through that before new people come about, right? I mean, that's kind of how that works. So we would not be repopulating this planet if that didn't happen. So it serves a purpose. It serves a purpose for companionship. It serves a purpose for all kinds of stuff. You learn to dig deep into somebody and learn about them and learn what makes them tick. And then you can take that. But then do not be surprised later on when those feelings cool off. And when those feelings maybe go away. And then maybe those feelings invert themselves. And you have special moments of arguing and
Unkindness.
violence, like verbal violence and stuff.
Sometimes you headbutt each other.
Or coldness or whatever, like where you just like all that stuff happens, and that's all part of the beauty of the roller coaster of the relationship, right? That's all part of it. And you never know the good unless you have bad. If everything's always good, then you never know, then you kind of lose track of what actually good is. You have nothing to compare it to. But when you have a good mixture of all that, that's healthy. That's okay. But in this case here, you're wondering, your question, when do you know to tell someone that you love them? And I don't think you ever do know. I think you just go for it when you feel like you're ready. If you don't want to, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ryan gave you some great hints on how to tell if you're ready to say those kinds of things. I will say this, like, we got a whole bunch of people that maybe haven't heard this story yet. But I asked a girl out. She gave me her number, and I called her and I asked her out, and she said she put me through the ringer, man. And she goes, I was like, "Hey, you want to go get a coffee? I don't drink coffee." And then silence.
Oof.
And I was like, "Okay, well, how about you want to go like get a hamburger or something?" She said, "I don't eat red meat." Right? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm strike two, right? So, okay, everybody likes going to the movies. Do you want to go to the movies? Oh, I'm seeing somebody right now. Oh, why couldn't you say that the first time? Like, really? So, so then obviously that was nothing, right? Nothing ever came of that. And then I ended up, after that was I had a time of I'm never getting in a relationship. I'm going to focus on playing in bands. We did some recording, we did some playing around, we did some gigging, we played all kinds of places, had a great, great band. It was, oh man, we were awesome. Like these guys were such tremendous players. Every single instrumentalist in this band was so good. And three of us were percussionists. Me, I was rhythm guitar. The bass player, also, he was a drummer, and the drummer was a drummer, obviously. So when you have a rhythm section that's all made up of
tight,
drummers,
yeah.
Dude, solid. Like, man, we could do all kinds of weird time signatures and keep it boom. Like, oh, it was fun. It was fun. And we would jam forever, right? So it was like exciting, man. We were having fun. And I went through emotional pain during that time, all this kind of stuff. And it was just this party lifestyle. We had a great time. I was performing, I was in college and everything. It was awesome. Right? This girl ended up getting engaged to this guy that she was seeing, right? And then like 14 months later, she ended up dumping him. And to make a long story short, now I'm married to that girl. So if you ask and she says no, that doesn't necessarily mean no forever. It may mean that you get some time to, figure out what makes you tick, do things that you love, build something of your own, build something that you are, because once you give yourself to another person, then at that moment, then your life is no longer lived for yourself, it's also lived for others, right? And so then, if you're cool with that, then man, do it. Absolutely. I'll tell you another interesting thing. I'll never forget this. Hopefully this isn't inappropriate, but I'll never forget, this is my wife now. We were dating, and we were just kind of hanging out as friends. We were doing stuff as friends. And it was late. I was dropping her off at her house and everything like that. So I pulled into the driveway, and we were having that moment of, where you're sitting there in the car together, and and you're in the driveway, and the stars are out and the moon's out and it's pretty and everything like that and everything. And I leaned over and I'm like, I'm gonna kiss her for the first time. I'm like, oh boy, this is exciting. This is gonna happen. Oh my gosh. And I planted one right on her teeth. Like, I kissed her teeth. Like, what? Oh my gosh. You want to talk about embracing the awkward.
You were swimming in it.
That was awkward, man. Like, I kissed her teeth.
Yeah.
F for Joe. Yes, failure.
F to pay respects, but yes, F for failure as well, unfortunately.
Yep. So it's fun. I mean, but these things are great stories, right? So if you
Joe's
can,
gone through some rough times, man.
if you, we got, what's all this F stuff going on, man? You guys, F natural or F sharp?
F flat.
That's an E.
Just like you fall.
But at any rate, so whatever decision you decide to make, it can lead to whatever. I just heard this great book called The Alchemist by Pablo Coelho, I think.
Yeah,
I think is
Coelho.
right.
Mm-hmm.
There's a quote in there that I loved, and it said, a decision isn't just something you make right now. A decision is you jumping feet first into a current. Because that decision is going to take you somewhere. And it's going to set up a whole bunch of other decisions to make, right? So if you make this decision to say yes or to say no, that one decision is going to lead you to a current. And it also is going to depend a little bit on her decision, whether she says yes or no, right? But either way, a decision takes you to a current where you will then be taken downstream to more decisions and to more experiences. So as you're weighing this out, whether I do this now or do this later or whatever, part of the problem, part of the indecision in all this is we get caught up in the magnitude of that moment, of that decision, right? And we forget that that decision is just a doorway to a path that's going to lead to more stuff, right? So you can weigh that out. And then maybe, it's all kind of unknown too. You never know what's going to happen. There's so many branches that can happen. So I don't necessarily say you should go down the road of, trying to plan out everything before you make a decision, but just understand it's just a decision. And whatever the result is of that, it's not going to last forever. And, if it causes pain, it causes pain, but it's temporary. If it causes joy, it causes joy, and that's temporary. So whatever decision you decide to make, you can handle it. You'll be good. Just understand, think to yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen? I play this game with myself all the time. I ask, what's the worst thing that could happen? And then I say to myself, okay, what would I do if that worst thing happened? Then what would I do? And then I come up with a plan for how I would respond if the worst thing possible happened. And now I have a plan for it. So now I'm not scared of it anymore. I mean, I might be a little bit nervous still, but I'm not afraid because I know exactly what I'm going to do. And most of the time, it's not going to be that bad. And you can always adjust up, from the worst. You can always adjust up. It's easier. But so maybe that might help you too. But at any rate, Ryan, did you have anything else on this?
Sure. One quick thing, what Joe was just talking about, think about the worst thing that can happen. Sometimes the worst thing that you think could happen is actually the best thing down the road. But also, when you think about the worst thing that happen, you could also take time to prepare. Like, okay, what can I do to avoid that worst thing? What can I do right now, like, to say, make sure that worst thing doesn't happen? Right? How can I direct my conversation? You can kind of strategize. How do I direct my conversation? What do I say to make sure that bad thing doesn't happen? So if the worst thing that could happen is you guys no longer talk to each other ever again, what do you say when you're asking to make sure that doesn't happen? That you guys stay in touch, that the awkwardness doesn't cause you to part. Well, then you just like Joe said, well, then you just take action. You don't allow the awkwardness to make you part. You just kind of embrace it and you allow it to be there, and you make a friendship that survives through that, and then you have an incredible friendship after that. Because it's like, we just went through that weird thing, and now we're even stronger. Which brings me on to my next point, which I'm going to end with here. Relationships. We talked about the emotional highs and the emotional lows, right? Either way, a relationship is the best place in life to grow. Because at the end of the day, you still love each other. It's where you show the worst sides of yourself because you get comfortable around them and you show the stupidest, worst decisions and parts of yourself that you wish they never knew. And they will do the same for you. And through that, you both learn to help each other, accept each other. Even through those bad things, those faults, you continue to say, you know what? I still love you. Let's keep on going. It's the best place in the world to grow. So relationships are hard because they're meant to be, because they're worth it. And starting a relationship is hard too. And it's meant to be because it's worth it. So Hyrule, if you're interested, it's not an easy road. It's just not. But it's worth it. Because it's difficult. So go for it, man. Give it your best shot. That's what I got.
I got something for you.
Go for it.
Yeah. All right, here you go. You're gonna like this. There you go, guys. Have that one. You want to talk about love?
Oh no, is it? Oh.
And with that, we're gonna close this stream down. You can go to that.
Yep. Enjoy yourselves.
Have
fun with Brack while we cut away.
Yes. So
thank you guys
love you guys so much. Thank you. It's been a great time with you all here on Don't Worry Wednesday. For those of you who didn't get to your topic, I apologize, but hopefully we can get to it on Friday because we will be back just 2 short days from now. Come back on Friday. It'll be great. And then you can come back in the morning where Joe and we start our mornings off right with each other on video, socially distanced, right? And you can join us too, which would be great too. And then also be sure to come to the Twitch stream tomorrow. You guys are streaming tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Ryan and Jesse, right? Yeah.
I'm good to go as long as Jesse is and everyone else is fine.
Cool. Yep. It's going to be good.
Like
so definitely do that. Gamble away all your potarts or give them to me if I'm there. That'd be fine too.
That would be that would be acceptable on Joe's opinion.
I'd be happy with that. So anyway, you guys
Thanks,
are
Princess.
awesome. You guys are
Yes.
great. Thank you so much for being here, and come back again. Subscribe to this channel if you're not already. Ring the bell. Make sure, then you'll know when we come on, and you'll be able to tell us you were late.
You
You
were
said it was supposed
late.
to be 9. You couldn't get here till like 9:15. What the heck, man? Come on.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
waited for you 15 minutes. I'm so
Yep.
sad.
Yep. And if it's double cup of
Patience is a
Joe,
good
you can be
thing. We're
like,
teaching
you guys
you.
are late. Joe, you're late. And you would be absolutely right, because one of us
is Joe.
one of
But
us
not
is
me.
Joe. Both
Not
of
me,
us.
obviously.
Both of us on that show. We're Joe.
Yep.
So
You
anyway.
get none of my photos, says Tef, and evil smiley faces. Oof. Tef has like he's on the top leadership board, so
yeah. It's all right. We'll do some what is it? Heists together, Tef. Next time I'm on there together. You join my heists.
There you go.
Yes.
You'll win together.
All right.
Or sometimes
love you guys
together. Love you. Bye-bye.
We'll
Peace.
see you next time.
Hearts.
You guys are amazing.